video, I am sitting in the parking lot to the post office because apparently I've joined the ranks of the old folks, being up before noon to go to the post office for something that really should have been a text. But I'm here. And I'm here knowing that I'm going to be here for a minute because they didn't put the sign up in the window, and they were supposed to have been open at 8, and they changed their hours to 8:30 and didn't tell anybody, so they left the doors unlocked and they sent me outside. And there's some creepy people that are playing a game right now. They're kind of going in and out through the doors, and I'm just waiting for somebody to go pick them up, so I'm just here in my car enjoying the AC. And I'm in Michigan City. So across the street right now from the post office, if you take a look over here, is Lighthouse Mall. It's a nice little outlet mall, and one of the stores that I love going to is Claire's. And you can probably tell, if you've been a fan of my videos for a minute, you probably could tell all by yourself. If you've been to my Koriander's Dolls website, you probably figured that out pretty quickly yourself. So, of course, you can understand my frustration that Claire's is going out of business for good. This is their second bankruptcy, but this is going to be the big one. Best case scenario, they go to be an online-only store, which would be fine if the shipping made sense, which it doesn't, because most stores that aren't Amazon Prime have shipping that doesn't make sense. So, I'm pretty upset by that. Usually when a retail store goes the way of the dodo birds, I don't hold a lot of sympathy for them. A lot of times it's a self-inflicted wound, and Claire's has had a lot of self-inflicted wounds. There's a bunch of people on YouTube who have had way better videos about this situation than I do, and they've gone into extensive details about things like lead in the makeup, questionable products from China, not trying to be racist, just, bootleg stuff, basically. How Claire's has always needed to pay their employees something better than what they do. The whole ear piercing thing. Yeah, lots of good reasons to be mad at Claire's. And if you don't feel any pity for Claire's, I'm not going to hold your feet to the fire over that. That's perfectly fine, because you have a lot of really super valid reasons to feel that way. And even though I share a lot of the same sentiment with you, Claire's definitely underpaid their staff. There's nobody working at Claire's that should have made less than $15 an hour in this day and age. I would go to say 20, because my local Claire's especially, we got a Karen problem. If you deal with a Karen, your salary should start at $20. Full stop. I don't care what you're doing. If you're dealing with Karens, you should start at $20 an hour. My personal opinion. So I personally believe, Claire's should have paid their employees more. And yeah, the ear piercing stuff, if you're going to get your ears pierced, either go to a doctor or go to a reputable tattoo parlor, because that way you won't get infected. I got my ears pierced not at Claire's, but at an earring pagoda at a mall when I was 10, and I got really badly infected in both ears. And had I known I could have gone to a reputable tattoo parlor and gotten it done professionally, I wouldn't have bothered. But that's a video for another day. But anywho, like I said, if you've got reasons to be mad at Claire's, they're valid. And there's too many videos on YouTube, they will back you up right now. And yet, despite the fact that we all have excellent reasons to be mad at Claire's, and, their demise is self-inflicted, I'm still mad. And you might be wondering, why are you mad? I'm mad because this was one of the last stores from my tweenhood that was still around and still delivering the same products that I expected. Did I expect, high quality jewelry? Not exactly, but they produced jewelry that looked good. And if it looks good, that's good enough for me. I don't need it to come from some dangerous mine somewhere. If you can replicate it with plastic and not have it get toxic, then okay, that's good enough for me. But Claire's was a big part of my girlhood. And you know, in a previous video that I did about my doll collecting, I mentioned how I rediscovered my girlhood during the pandemic. Well, Claire's was always a part of that. I never stopped shopping at Claire's, but I definitely was ramping up before the pandemic. I was buying more stuff at Claire's. I've got little jewelry cases at home full of stuff that I got at Claire's. It was like $2 for a pendant, $1 for a ring, and you get like a pair of earrings with it or some shit like that. And it was nice. And what I really loved about Claire's was that, unlike most stores, Claire's typically produces jewelry in colors that I like. I don't like beige. I'm a millennial that hates beige. I hate beige. I hate neutrals. I hate navy blue. I hate zombie green, as there's zombies behind me, and I'm trying not to get them on camera. Zombie apocalypse, you know how it is. But like, I don't like zombie green. I don't like jade green. I don't like yellowy green. I don't like all of the colors that got shoved down my throat the instant I started entering my tween years. I hate them. I really hate them. I am not a gray person. I am not interested in that at all. I love neons. I love pastels. I love metallic colors. I love pink and green. I like cooler shades of green, and I like baby pink, and I like shocking neon Barbie pink. And Claire's was always a store where I could reliably find those colors no matter what season it was. Is it fall? There's shocking pink in the aisle. Is it winter? Shocking pink. Is it summer? Shocking pink. Is it spring? You bet your ass there's tons of pink here. And I appreciated that, because so many other stores do not cater to the color palettes that I like. I find nothing for me in most stores. We've got a bunch of clothing stores here at the Lighthouse Mall. We've got H&M, there's Hot Topic, and there's like just tons and tons of stores that sell clothes. Of all of them, I usually end up at Hot Topic. I usually end up buying a shirt either that is anime related or wrestling related, or end up just buying some Sailor Moon accessories or some Hello Kitty accessories because there's nothing in the store that's really affordable. And I just call it a day after that. Because Hot Topic is the last place on planet Earth now that has clothing that at least resembles something I might wear. You know, I'm not a cottagecore person. My local store took in a lot of really gross grandma from the 80s cottagecore crap that even my own grandma does not wear. But they've got other stuff. They've got the emo stuff, the goth stuff, and then they've got stuff that is in colors I would actually put on my body. So I appreciate that. The other stores that are here, fugly florals, fugly beiges, fugly colors that I don't even want to address as colors. I'd like to just revoke them from the color wheel, honestly. And Claire's never gave me that crap. There's so little ugly at Claire's. Everything else is in the nice, bright colors that I like. So to lose one more store from my youth that actually catered to a taste that I have kind of pisses me off, honestly. It had to happen. I get why, and I don't disagree with it. I'm just mad about it. My top 3 stores right now have been Five Below. I'm actually wearing a Five Below shirt right now. This is their, this was a not Sune Miku shirt that they had at Five Below right before they got the agreement to actually sell real Vocaloid merchandise, because now they've got stickers over there, and they do have the Miku keychains with Cinema Roll. But before they got the rights to sell anything Miku, they had a bootleg Miku shirt, and I got it for $5. When everything was still $5, not $5.55. They're going to have to change the name of the store now, damn. But Five Below is my number 1. That's the king of my stores. And then Claire's and Hot Topic vied for the number 2 spot, depending on what they have. So there were some points in the year where Claire's was my number 2, and there's other points where Hot Topic's my number 2. And Hot Topic only has that spot so high because of Sailor Moon. If they didn't carry so much with Sailor Moon and Hello Kitty and occasional wrestling and some of the bands that I still like, they would be in the number 3 spot consistently. But they have more stuff that I like, so they get to have the number 2 for now. So that would leave Claire's as the other store. Now Claire's is going away. So that leaves me with one less thing to do. I enjoy shopping in person. A lot of stores, though, that I have nearby, they don't cater to me. So I don't have the wherewithal, the gumption to really go shopping in person. And I know a lot of people like to blame the internet. They've been doing this since 1999. Oh, let's blame the internet. Oh, Amazon killed all these businesses. That's cute. That's really cute. But the reality is it's not the number one reason. You know why? Because a lot of the stores that have gone out of business also had websites that had a high enough traffic. So it's not that you're competing with Amazon. It's that if you've got a website and you've got your own shit on your website and you're selling shit on your website and you still can't figure out how to make that work, maybe that's a you problem. It's kind of gotten old. We can't keep blaming the internet for everything. And Claire's has had a really old website now, and they still put on new graphics, they still redesign it, they still have new products, so I'm not even going to say, oh, internet killed Claire's. Bullshit. I'm calling bullshit on that. Their own business practices, of course, killed them. But it just is so unfair that there's so few stores for us. I feel like, in all honesty, being a millennial means being pushed out. I remember when I was a little girl, so many kids, boy and girl, in my class, we were pushed to grow up a lot faster than we needed to. Our generation, those of us who were born in the 80s, we got told everything was our fault. You see that reflected in things like Captain Planet, for example. Gen X and boomers cause all this pollution, but it's your fault somehow, and it's your job to fix the pollution the old generations caused. Did your parents suddenly have a new sibling? Well, you're raising that sibling. They're going to lie to your face and say they're doing everything alone, but in reality, you're making sure little brother or sister studies. You're making sure little brother or sister gets up on time. You're making sure little brother or sister is not skimping on the homework. They're fed properly. They're taking their meds on time. That's your job. You're the old kid. You're the old sibling. That's your job. Do you have nieces and nephews or cousins that somehow mysteriously live in your house for various family reasons? Well, you're raising them too. Those are your practice children. But don't you dare have a child on us, because we don't want to raise the grandkids, but you got to raise our kids for us. And then, we weren't even in kindergarten before we were told we had a lot of responsibilities that were supposed to be for the adults, but that's our job. A lot of us had Cinderella-isms. This was a carryover from Gen X. Gen X was the first Cinderella generation. We were number 2, where parents thought it was funny to dump all of their chores on us. And then as we were growing up, we got pushed out of things way quick. Like, I remember when Power Rangers was popular, by week 4, where everybody in my class was still very much Power Ranger kid age, we had parents and teachers telling us, you should have outgrown that already. I'm sorry, this TV show literally just started. We're not even partway through season 1 yet. How about you give us time to let this cook a minute? No, we had to outgrow Power Rangers by the time we were 6. I remember at 7, my dad throwing such hissy fits because I was still into Barbie and I still liked Bugs Bunny cartoons. And I'm like, well, I'm 7. And that's kind of what a 7-year-old does. Power Rangers, Bugs Bunny, toys. Yeah, that's what 7-year-olds are about. I don't know what else to tell you. And, the older I got, the worse it got. I remember magazines that were even tailored to us. You look at American Girl magazine, if you can find the archives on archive.org, and I think there's a couple of Tumblr pages that have some of the excerpts and some Instagram accounts that do. If you look in the back at some of the, help sections, they were kind of adult. We were being given a lot of adult advice in a magazine that was aimed at ages 8 to 12. Even Nickelodeon had a lot of adult humor in it. Nickelodeon in general had a lot of adult humor. Quiet on Set is one hell of a watch. If you haven't seen it, you should. But our cartoons, our magazines, our books, everything, we kept being pushed out of what made us happy and pushed into being older and older and older at an earlier age, and I don't think we really got anything out of it. I think that's why so many people in my age group got burnt out, because we just needed to breathe, really. And now I'm looking at retail. A lot of the stores that I loved as a tween are not here anymore. When I moved to Michigan City Justice was the first store to go under. Justice went under as soon as I unpacked my last box. There is no Justice here. I feel like there's a joke here somewhere. Claire's is now going away. A lot of the mall stores I enjoyed as a kid are completely gone. Warner Brothers store, that's gone. Disney store, that's gone. When Disney store left the South Lake Mall, the mall actually went into mourning. There was like these big bouquets of flowers. When they finally like wiped clean the last bit of Disney, there were these big bouquets of flowers outside of where there used to be a Disney store, and like it looked like a funeral. The mall itself mourned the Disney store, but the Disney store is gone. Granted, I had my beef with them too. That's another video. I dealt with some racism there, but I won't go into that. But that's gone. What else is gone? Just a lot of stores that I remember as a kid. The biggest one, you might think, oh, she's going to say Toys R Us next. No, those people were overpriced, and they fought me on every damn toy I wanted to order. So no, I'm not crying over Jeffrey right now, and he's back at Macy's, so good on him. KB Toys. KB Toys. I cry for KB Toys. And KB Toys sub-store. They had another one called KB Toy Works out in Highland. And I loved those stores. They carried everything that I wanted. They carried my anime toys. They had Dragon Ball Z figures nobody else wanted to carry because, oh, Japanese violence. People were hella racist when Dragon Ball Z got hot. But they carried Pokemon. They carried all sorts of cool wrestling stuff that I still have in my house that is so futuristic. They even had Mega Man for my little brother. So, like, they had everything. And they had it at cheap prices. That's gone. There were a couple of other toy stores that came up a little bit after KB. They're all history. So, like, all the stores I enjoyed very much in my youth are gone. And, you know, it just kind of feels like we got pushed out. The stores that are left, you can't pay me to set foot in them. You can't pay me to shop there. Even if you gave me a $1,000 gift card, there's nothing at any of these stores that I would, honest to God, purchase. Five Below and Hot Topic are kind of it, unless there's like a video game store, and even that is going the way of the dodo bird. We have a good enough video game store here called Game Changers. Right now, they're the only store. We lost our GameStop. And I'm mad because they're doing a Pokemon promotion, and I can't participate. But we don't even have like a whole lot of video game stores left. What we do have, we have some stores here and there that resell unclean versions of the stuff that we originally had, but that's kind of it, and they're hanging on by prayer. And if we don't support them, because a lot of them are still mom and pop, well, then they're going to be joining Claire's, and then what will I have? Absolutely nothing left. You know, a lot of our stores, it's just Dollar General, Dollar Tree that is increasing their prices like crazy, and they're getting really entitled about it. And I'm like, your Dollar Tree, take it down a peg. And then we have a couple of grocery stores, and that's kind of it, really. You know, if not for Five Below, there would be nothing for us to shop at. You know, even Kohl's is kind of hanging on by a thread. They're threatening bankruptcy now. You know, I won't be surprised if I turn this video off and find out that they are in bankruptcy the way it's going. We lost Big Lots in my town. We have no Big Lots now. We have an empty store. Self-inflicted because they raised their own prices, but still, you know, it's just kind of, it feels like we got pushed out. A lot of our stuff on TV got either canceled or it's been changed so drastically that it's unrecognizable. Like this morning, a friend of mine showed me a video of Daniel Tiger, and they were like, hey, your little one isn't watching Daniel Tiger yet, right? And I'm like, no, he's not really interested in preschool shows, and I'm so grateful for that right now. And, you know, I was like, I grew up with Mr. Rogers, but Lady Elaine kind of scared a lot of people at my house, so we don't watch Lady Elaine episodes. And my friend was just like, well, I got a video to show you. So they shared this video with me that's on YouTube, where apparently Daniel Tiger, A, is a cartoon character now. Apparently that started in 2012. And B, has a baby sister he never had in the original Mr. Rogers show. And C, tried to punch his baby sister. Baby, as in wah, still in diapers, baby sister. What the hell? But it feels like that. Like a lot of our shows have been redone to the point where they're not recognizable. And I get that. You want to make new versions of things for new generations. But there's also a difference between a good reboot and a bad one. A good reboot or a good continuation holds on to what made it fun. You know, like my husband is super enjoying the new King of the Hill revival because it's new, but it also held on to what made him watch in the first place. So it feels natural. And that's great. You know, and of course, you know, I'm obsessed with Sailor Moon Crystal, and I absolutely love it for following the source material a little bit closer. And that's fine. But then you've got so many other revivals that just don't feel like what we grew up with. And I don't know, maybe it's just me, but it just feels like my generation got pushed out of a lot of stuff too early. We're not going to have our era of nostalgia the way the Gen X and the Boomers did. You know, there's not going to be a lot of reruns on, like, Cartoon Network for the stuff that we grew up with. Because our reruns are now being moved to MeTV Tunes. And we got to share that spot with everything else that's there. It's like, oh good, you get to have the Ninja Turtles you grew up with, but you got to share it with Huckleberry Hound. Great. I got to sit through a few hours before I get to Ninja Turtles. Thank you for reminding me why I stream everything and buy DVDs now. I don't know. It just feels kind of like we're getting pushed out. And there was even an article from the New Yorker that it was kind of interesting recently. They said that we disappeared. This was after about 5 articles in a row about how we're doing everything wrong. You know, avocado toast, and you should have bought a house when you were still a zygote. You know, and now all of a sudden we've gone from doing everything wrong to the New Yorker thinking, oh no, we've disappeared. Where are the millennials? They used to be everywhere. Now it's just Gen Z. Yes, because we left the 20s. Isn't that amazing? It's like we leave our 20s and we're invisible now. So I don't know. I don't know. Maybe even the New Yorker, who has been up our asses since we were tweens, maybe they finally see we're being pushed out. But what do you folks think? Do you think we're being pushed out, or, you know, are we just entering an era where you don't do anything fun outside anymore? Go ahead and leave a comment. The post office just opened up, so now I can go and do my business and then go home and take a nap with all the other old folks, because that's what we do now. But yeah, I'll work on some more fun content. But I just wanted to get this off of my chest, and thank you for watching if you did, because you didn't have to and you chose to, and I really appreciate that a lot more than you know. I really do.